Hi there and welcome back to my channel. This is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing The Housemaid, written by Freida McFadden. It's a thriller. It's a true popcorn thriller. One of those books where you can just sit back, relax, read it, shut out the rest of the world. You don't have to think about the book when you're reading it. You just have to enjoy it, enjoy the ride. It's not the best written book, but who cares really? It doesn't need to be, because this book really engaged me. There's things in this book right from the first chapter that hooked me in. I do like thrillers like that. I like thrillers for different reasons actually. So some thrillers are like this, like a popcorn thriller, where you can just sit back and shut everything out. Some thrillers are more psychological. We have to think about things. It draws you in slowly. I enjoy that as well. So I enjoy different books for different reasons. And I think if this book had been bogged down, this book had been a slow burn, it wouldn't have worked at all. Just because of the writing suits a more fast-paced thriller in my view. So I did enjoy this a lot. It's the first book in a series. I'll definitely read the rest in the series as well. There's two, I think, after this book. I don't know if there'll be more because I haven't read the other two, but I do plan to read them very soon. So Millie is looking for a job. She's living in her car. She needs a job fast. And we learn different things about Millie as the book progresses. I'm not going to tell you what those twists and turns are in case you haven't read this. So anyway, she finds a job as a housekeeper, and it just seems like it's a dream come true. The person she's working for, so the mother of the family, seems very nice. The child seems okay at the start, and everything seems just above board. The house is nice, big house. It seems like she's going to be very welcome in that house, living job. Seems like a dream come true for Millie. But that's going to change very quickly. When she gets the job and she arrives on her first day, the house is a mess. A big mess, like nobody's cleaned for over a week. And her boss, her employer, is just terrible, like a complete 180. Her personality has changed, she's difficult, she's quite evil actually to Millie. That happens right from that moment when Millie walks through the door on her first day of the job. And the child that seemed so nice, the child starts acting like a brat really in the story. And then there's the husband. And the husband seemed not to even know that Millie was being hired, which was strange to me. You'd think he would know. He didn't. But he seems okay. He seems like the only normal person in the house. So Millie is drawn to the husband because of that. That plays out in the story. It's a key thing in the story. But the thing about this book, and some thrillers in general, is that characters ignore red flags. So there's a red flag very early on in the story. So ignoring that red flag of her employer just being awful, complete personality change. The red flag, the big red flag, is that her room, so Millie's room, while she's staying in this house, is in the attic. It's a small room, but the red flag is the lock is on the outside of the door. No lock from the inside. For me, if that was me, I'd be saying, no thank you, I don't care if I'm living in my car, whatever. I'm not going to stay in a room where somebody can lock it from the outside. Why would you? But Millie chooses to stay. There's certain reasons why. They kind of make sense in the book, but again, a big red flag, and I think the character, even if it had those certain things that were kind of suggesting she should stay, I kind of get the impression that in real life she'd say no thank you and just walk away. But it's a book. We have to run through the plot, so we accept the fact that she stays. We wonder what's going to happen, because that's a strange thing, isn't it? You're staying in this attic room, and somebody can lock you in, and you can't get out. I'm not going to mention anything else about the plot, because this is the type of book where you need to be fresh in the reading. Spoilers will ruin it for you, because it's those twists and turns and surprises in the story that make this a bit more thrilling, more engaging. They hook you into the story. They hooked me into the story, and I found many of those twists and turns very surprising. So for me, all those things that happen in the story, despite this not being the best written story, made this super engaging. So the characters. So we have two main characters who form our point of view, and narrators. That's Millie and her boss. And I like their point of view very much, because in their points of view, we get to see the other characters as well, what they think of each other. And we get little secrets about themselves in the story. And some of those secrets come out later on in the story when you're reading it. So for me, that's part of the fun as well. I like books where you have characters, and I always describe it as having characters like a map, like a computer game, where you have a map and you don't see all the map until you move around in the world. And as you move around, more of the map becomes out of shadow, out of darkness, and you see everything about the map. You see all the features. That's like characters in a thriller like this. Some of the features of those characters are hidden in shadow, they're dark. And then you learn more about those characters and they come to light. So I do like when that happens in a book. This adds to the fun of character development, of character enjoyment and engagement, because you always wonder what's next. This is a book where characters will be both unlikable and likable. And when they're unlikable, they're very unlikable in some cases. So it's interesting in that way. It's very twisty and turny in that way, very surprising. I like how it's done. And even though it's done like that, the characters feel very real. Everything feels quite organic in the story. Nothing there feels too forced, so I did enjoy that as well. So again, not the best written story, but it's so engaging, it's so fun. It's one of those books where you can just sit back, shut out the world, and enjoy it. So Millie. When I think of Millie in this story, I think about the word why. Why stay there? Why do that? Why are you there? Why did you make that choice? Just why? Because there's certain things in this story that I think are huge red flags she ignores. She makes choices as well in this story where I just ask why. But despite all that, she's engaging, cleverly written. She has many secrets that come out in the story as well. And I like how that plays out. And the conclusion with Millie, the conclusion is super exciting, super engaging, and it makes me wonder what's going to happen next in book 2. I can't wait to read book 2. And much of that is down to how Millie's written. So very surprising as a character, and just super engaging during the read. Nina is a character that's full of surprises, and a character that's so unlikable at certain parts in the story. So at that part where she just does a complete 180 personality change and she's just terrible to Millie. That part of the story, I was just thinking this character is so unlikable, so awful, but so engaging because of it. Because those behaviours, those actions were driving certain situations between Millie and Nina and certain plot elements as well. So even though Nina in those moments was so unlikable and so awful, she was so engaging for me in the story. And she has different surprises in the book. You learn so much about Nina in this book, and everything I learnt made sense. So another character, so even though she's unlikable to extreme ways as well, and likable at certain parts in the book, everything makes sense about her personality, and everything feels so consistent because of that. Andrew is the husband in the story, so Nina's husband. Another character that will surprise you. Another character with twists and turns and secrets. Another character that you will like and dislike at certain parts in the story. Another character that can be dark as well. So all these characters can have dark moments as well. So that's another thing about this book. So for me, another character that was engaging for different reasons. And this character did hook me into the story at different parts in the story. Used very well. Those secrets, those twists and turns were so powerful in the book about Andrew. They really hook you and drag you into the story as well, deeper and deeper. So a great character for a book like this, a character that was super engaging, super unlikable, and also very likable at certain moments in the book. This book surprised me. I didn't know what to expect actually with this story. I'd heard many great things about this, but I just thought, is the hype really worth it? I'm going to read this and find it terrible. And I didn't. That surprised me because I kind of thought I would. Just because sometimes the hype gets me so excited about a story and I read it and I think, oh, what's the point? Wasn't that great after all? But this book was super engaging. Not the best written story, but so fun, so engaging, so twisty and turny. I really enjoyed the whole ride. And I rated it a 3.5 out of 5. And I'm really looking forward to reading more in this series. On my channel, I review many thrillers. If you enjoy thrillers, check out my channel and subscribe. On the screen now is a link to another video for a book I'm sure you'll enjoy.